Hello, hello. Hope you're well. Happy to be with you again. Hope you are benefiting from these lessons and hope you continue because I really believe in what we're doing here. I've been doing this for 55 years and I've created over 60 seminars and a 7-year seminar of self-knowledge, and I found very wonderful results on myself and other people. So hope that you continue to benefit from these lessons. Today, we're going to talk about the fear of happiness and alternative perceptions, and if we have time, inspired questions and answers. We'll see if we have time for that. Now, two books that are most helpful for you here are The Psychology of Happiness and The Free to Be Happy with Energy Psychology. They're both my books, and you can get them on Amazon, or if you like, I can send them to you for free as ebooks in electronic form. Okay, so you'd have to ask for that. Now, the fear of happiness. You see a woman who is in the state of feeling that she is the victim, that no one loves me, no one listens to me. Oh my God, these headaches are never going to stop. I hate myself. This is too much for me. I can't trust anybody to do it right. Why does this always happen to me? All of us have felt this way at certain times. It's a very natural feeling, and that's not a problem. The problem is when we don't want to let go of those feelings and that we fear actually being happy. What are some of the forms of resistance? One is that I have felt this way, not happy, a long time, and to not know what it will be like to be without this emotion. It would be like losing an important part of myself or my life, an arm or a leg. We have become attached to or addicted to feeling this way. We may fear the unknown. We may fear being different than we are. We may fear that if we change, we will not be acceptable to other people. We may fear that if we're not like other people, we may not be accepted. And we may fear loneliness. We know our relationships and our life is based has been based until now on feeling hurt, on feeling angry, on feeling done injustice to, or having anxiety. And we don't know what our life would be like. So we prefer the known unhappiness to the unknown happiness. We prefer the known to the unknown. Secondly, we may believe that we need this emotion, perhaps anger or depression or injustice or pain, in order to protect ourselves from others. Fear that others want to hurt or use us, and thus we need to protect ourselves with anger or depression or hurt or crying. Okay? Fear that I do not have any other way of protecting myself. So this is a power struggle as described in James Redfield's book about the dramas that we play, the roles that we play. Fear of not getting what I want if I let go of my anger or hurt or pain. Fear that others will not pay attention to me if I'm not angry or crying. So these probably not conscious beliefs, but the subconscious can be functioning in this way. I will lose my power or control over others. Again, we use anger and dissatisfaction, fear that I won't in any way, any other way, be able to get what I want from others. Fear that if I do not control them, they will control me. Fear that I will lose my self worth or something else important to me if I do not control others. So we're using emotions to control. That could be anger or hurt or pain or criticism. I will lose others' attention if I don't have this emotion. So we're afraid that the only reason for people to pay attention to us is our emotions. Okay. So they will not pay attention to us. We don't have anything worthwhile to share with other people except for these emotions. Fear that I will not have their attention, I will have no self-worth, and I will be lonely. So we believe that the only way that we can engage people's attention and perhaps love is by having these emotions. And if we don't have them, we may lose that. I will lose my self-worth if I do not feel this way, especially if we are used to feeling the victim or righteous anger in order to get our feelings of goodness, righteousness, or self-worth. Fear that I have no self-worth except when I am angry. Fear that I have no self-worth except when I'm done injustice to. Fear that I will not be right if I am not angry or crying. These are perceptions that can exist in the subconscious and cause us to want to reenact, re-experience those emotions. I will allow others to be free from feeling guilty or responsible about me or for me. I will lose control over them. Anger towards others for what they have done to me. Guilt if the others are not guilty. Someone has to be guilty. If it's not them, understand? So we want the others to feel guilty so that we don't feel guilty. Okay? And so that we can control them. I will need to take responsibility for my life. Fear that I'm not capable of handling my life on my own. Thus, better not to be well, and thus to be able to try to make it in life. So, not being well means that other people have to take responsibility for our lives. Now, I want to make a clarification here. These are not the only causes of people not being well or people feeling depressed. Maybe only 10% of people not well or feeling depressed can be doing that in order to get attention or to control others. Maybe the other 90% are not. The thing is that we want to check if there are parts of ourselves that are causing us to stay in states that we would like to get out of. Another belief, in order to be good, I must feel guilty for what I have done. Thus, I cannot accept feeling okay. A good person must feel guilty. Another programming here. Feel that I will not be a good person unless I feel guilty and unhappy. Feeling that I must punish myself for the mistakes I have made. Now, we're going to do a separate lesson on guilt later on in this course. I will need to be happy, something which scares me. Fear that if I am too happy, something bad will happen. This is not an uncommon belief. Fear that if I do not need others and am happy, I will lose their attention. Fear that if I'm not the victim, I will have no self-worth. Fear that others may consider me to be silly or not serious if I express joy. We want to appear serious. Fear that happiness and joy might be against what God wants from me. We don't get that message so much in many religions. Religions are changing and they're advocating happiness, but for a long time, being serious and unhappy seemed to be more spiritual. Fear that happiness needs always to be balanced with unhappiness, so it's impossible to be happy continuously. I don't believe that, but it's a belief that exists. Happiness must be obtained by hard work and trials and tribulations. So if I haven't gone through a lot, then maybe I don't have the right to be happy. Or if I want to be happy, maybe I have to go through these trials and tribulations. I will have to recognize my self-worth, which also scares me. Fear that if I believe in my self-worth, I will be egotistical and not good or pure. That it's a sin to believe that you're worthy. Fear that I do not deserve to believe in my self-worth, fear of the power which comes from believing in myself. Now, why would someone believe that they are not deserving to be happy or to be loved or to be safe? Here are some experiences in our childhood years. Because when I was a child, now you can choose any of these that may apply, my parents did not love me. The only logical assumption here is that I'm not worthy of love and not worthy of happiness. I can't understand that my parents may have problems. Also, I can't understand that they may love me, but I have interpreted their actions as not loving me. They did not pay attention to me, so I'm obviously not worth it. I was not good in school. They rejected me. They told me I was bad. All of these experiences can lead us to believe that we're not worthy of happiness or even health or abundance. They abandoned me. They did not fulfill my needs. My parents got divorced. My parents died. They abused me. They compared me to others. I did not satisfy them. So all of these are experiences that a child can interpret as meaning, I am not good. I am not worthy of being loved and of being respected and happy. I'm going to share with you here some alternative perceptions. How else can we see this? I remind you that you don't need to accept anything I say. Just listen to it and see if you can agree with it. If you don't, just let it go. What I believe is that we need to alter our perceptions about ourselves, and see ourselves as divine consciousness, our perception of others, see them also as divine consciousness, and of events and situations, seeing them all as opportunities for growth. So the first issue, which we discussed in a previous class on self-acceptance, is the subject of self-worth. Are we worthy of love, respect, happiness, health, and abundance? Society programs us to believe that our self-worth is dependent on what others think about us, how they behave towards us, how we compare to them, the results of our actions, our appearance, our economic or professional condition, and other factors. Okay? So we are programmed by society that our worthiness is not absolute. It's not immutable. We are worthy only under certain conditions, prerequisites. I suggest that everyone is worthy of love and respect because they're expressions of divine consciousness, not because of what they're able to do, not because of their appearance or their intelligence, just simply because they are expressions of divine consciousness, just as all beings on the screen at the movies, the cinema, are all expressions of one light behind the film. There is only one cause of all beings. Even the evil beings who are doing harm to the victims are caused by the same light. So they too are actually worthy of love and respect, not worthy of freedom, because they're harmful to other people. They need to be healed. They need to be helped to change their perceptions that they see hurting people. So being worthy of love and respect does not mean that we have no faults. We have to make that clarification. We accept ourselves and others with our faults. We have faults, they have faults, but we are all worthy as expressions of divine consciousness of being loved and respected, regardless as to whether we can be trusted. Nor does it mean that we're more worthy than anyone else. All deserve the same love and respect. Some people deserve more trust or more responsibilities. Self-worth is based on existence itself. And if a being is in a hospital in a coma for 10 years and has not been able to offer anything to anyone, can't speak, can't help anyone, they are still worthy of love. Their existence gives them the right to respect and love, not what they can do or what they have. Being more able gives us the right to more responsibilities. Can't put the person in a coma in responsibility. We can't put a person who has not cultivated certain abilities in a place of responsibility where those abilities are needed. It's only logical. He's not worth less love and respect. He's just worth more responsibilities. And being ethical enables us to be trusted and free to function in society. If we can't be ethical, then we can't be trusted or free to roam in society, but we do deserve love and respect until we are able to transform ourselves and become trusted and free. Another confusion that we also mentioned in the previous class was I am, I have, and I do. Our self-worth is dependent on I am. I am an expression of the divine. What I have, a spouse, a car, a house, a position, money, whatever it may be, doesn't increase my self-worth. Society believes it does. And that's why we're examining these beliefs. And there's an alternative perception. They are no worthy. Someone with all of the things that society says you have to have to be worthy, don't change our self-worth. We are the same in the eyes of the divine. Nothing changes. And the same thing with I do. Doing many things is wonderful. I enjoy doing many things. I feel satisfaction, happy, but it doesn't make me more worthy. And doing less doesn't make me less worthy. So let's let go of defining ourselves with what we have or what we do, and let it depend on what we are. And then let us do what we do not to gain self-worth, but to serve and to create and to enjoy creating here on the physical realm, not because we believe we're going to be more worthy. So our self-worth is based on our inner essence, our divine nature, and is not external. Now, the second aspect, which we also discussed in a previous lesson, is feeling safe. Now, actually, there's only one security, and it's mental. It's an emotional, mental, spiritual security. We have feared and worried so many times in the past, and 95% of those times, what we feared did not happen. Even in the few times it did, we were able to overcome it. So we see here that there's really no reason. 95% of the times that we fear and have anxiety wasn't necessary. Just wasn't necessary. It didn't happen. So it's a shame to continue this way of thinking, and that is fearing always that something bad is going to happen. The second thing we need to remember in order to let go of fear and anxiety is that there is no death. We and our loved ones are immortal beings in temporary bodies, and we simply leave our bodies. Letting go of the fear of death will enable us to feel much safer than when we feel that death is the end or something horrible. The experience of a large number of people that have left their bodies, supposedly having died, according to the doctor, they were clinically dead, was a wonderful experience of peace and freedom and love and unity with everyone and everything once they had left the body. It wasn't a negative experience. It was a wonderful experience that changed their lives. So the first thing we have to remember is most of the times that we fear, actually what we fear is not happening. Secondly, that we are immortal beings, and it's important to understand that our loved ones are immortal beings, and they too do not die. They simply leave their physical bodies and continue to exist in another dimension. Thirdly, and you may have difficulty accepting this, but it's your choice, we live in a universe that allows to happen to each soul, that means us and our loved ones and all other beings, only what is beneficial for that soul's awakening. So what is happening in our lives may be pleasant, may be unpleasant, probably a mixture. It's whatever is happening is there for us to give us the opportunity to awaken spiritually, to let go of false beliefs that we have been programmed into us by society and begin to understand what we really are and what other people really are and what this dimension really is and why whatever happens is happening. So we live in a universe that allows only what is beneficial, not only what is pleasant. Let's not confuse pleasant with beneficial. People talk about bad karma. There is no such thing as bad karma. There is unpleasant karma. Karma is always good. It's always there as an opportunity to learn something. So what we call bad, bad weather, it's not really bad weather, it's unpleasant weather. It's weather we don't like, doesn't serve our comfort. So we might want to change our interpretation of bad. And fourthly, we and our loved ones have the inner strength and wisdom to overcome, but not only overcome, also benefit from all challenges and tests. Now, we doubt this when we think of something happening in our lives. We say, oh my God, if that happens, I will never be able to deal with it. I remember experiencing that with my mother when she lost her husband when she was only 50 years old. And she couldn't imagine living. And then, okay, with time, we continue living. And I have dealt with so many people that have lost loved ones. Thousands of people I have dealt with that have lost loved ones and have come to our center. And they eventually connect with life, connect with themselves, connect with their life purpose, create lives of happiness, of meaning. So there is really nothing they can't deal with. We have, however, free will. We don't have to use these experiences positively. We can use them negatively. We can suffer. We can hold on to bitterness and pain and anger and hate, or we can use the experiences as growth opportunities. Now, the issue of responsibility, this is another confused concept in my perception in society. Responsibility does not mean fault. It's very important to distinguish between being responsible and being at fault. A painter who is painting a portrait is not at fault because the painting is not finished. He's responsible for the state of the painting. He has created and is creating the painting, but there's no fault here. The painting is as it can be in the process of its evolutionary process. The same thing with our lives. Taking responsibility for our lives does not mean feeling that we are at fault if our lives are not as we would like them to be. If we don't like the way our lives are, then we need to ask ourselves, how can I think differently, speak differently, and behave differently to create a different life, the life that I want? Society perceives us as victims of the powers around us. And that usually means that our parents are at fault, and the government is at fault, and other groups of people are at fault, and everyone is at fault for our reality except for us. I perceive it differently. I believe that I am the creator of my reality. I believe that every person is the creator of his or her reality. We engage other souls to play roles, these soul agreements to play roles in the creation of our society. It may appear that they are creating our reality, but in fact, they are not. These are souls that we have engaged to play their roles in giving us stimuli for our growth process. Society also tells us that we are responsible for what others feel. Okay, this is a mistake here. We create our emotion that others are responsible, for how we feel, that other people are responsible when we feel hurt or angry, upset, or fearful. I also believe that we create our emotions by the way we interpret events and situations based on our beliefs and our needs. So I don't believe that anyone else is creating my emotions. I don't believe that anyone else is creating your emotions. I believe that I and you are creating our emotions, and the other people are just giving us the stimulus, the trigger. But we create the emotions by the way we interpret what they're doing. Society also tells us that we are responsible for the other's reality and that our self-worth depends on how well they are, especially our children. My perception is we are responsible for our effort to help and support others, but we cannot create their reality. We are responsible to love, support, help others, but we cannot create their reality. Society tells us that parents create their children and are responsible for their reality. In my perception, and you don't have to agree with me, parents are responsible to protect their children until a certain age. That differs in each country, okay? Some countries that means 18 or 12, and other countries it means 40 or 50. And behave towards them, towards their children, as they would like their parents to behave towards them. That I need to be the parent to my child that I would like my parent to be to me. But they cannot create their children's reality. That child comes into this world with karmic choices, with soul choices, with lessons to learn. The parents do not create that. The parents facilitate that. They are catalysts which create the experiences in our childhood years that allow us as souls to create the stage for our growth process. And then we have free will as to how we're going to react, the way the parents reacted. And any couple that has more than one child will have to tell you that even though we behaved approximately the same way towards those children, and they have approximately the same genes, they have totally different characters. We are born with a character. It is affected by the parents' behavior and the parents' way of thinking, but I believe that that too is a soul choice. So the parents are responsible for their actions and their motives and their behaviors, and that will create their own karma and their own life growth experience. But they cannot create the child's reality. We cannot cause a child to succeed or not succeed. Parents and children are actually equal souls, fellow souls, who have chosen to play those roles for the purpose of their mutual evolution. You don't have to agree with me, but this is how I see it. Our parents are not our parents. They're fellow souls in the process of evolution. Our children are not our children. They're fellow souls in the process of evolution. We are all learning. And the roles, we play these roles in order to learn to love, to serve, and support each other. That's why we create these roles, to learn to love and serve and support each other. We are here to love and support each other without needing each other's approval, love, or support. So we are here to love without needing to be loved, to support without needing to be supported. They may sound strange and unjust. I'm not saying do not ask to be loved. I'm not saying do not ask to be supported. Ask, express your needs, but continue to love even when you're not loved. Continue to support even when you're not supported. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't accept love and support. I'm not saying do not ask for love and support, but I'm saying let's choose to be loving and supportive even when the others cannot. There may be a soul choice here to learn something. Now, the fourth issue I'd like to discuss, which we have already discussed to some degree, is the matter of freedom. A lot of confusion here. We believe that others suppress our freedom, that we are suppressed by other people. My belief is that we give up or barter our freedom in order to ensure that we have the other's acceptance, approval, love, help, financial support, or even our physical safety if the other person is intimidating us or threatening to kill us. It is a trade-off. Even if they're holding a pistol to our heads, it's a trade-off. I already mentioned the examples of Socrates and of Jesus, who chose to leave their physical bodies rather than to stop teaching and helping people understand the truth. So what we're saying here is that we are actually, at least as adults, okay, let's not talk about childhood. We didn't have any way of surviving then, okay? But now as adults, there is no such thing as suppression. There is only bartering, a trade-off. We lose our freedom when we fear what will happen if we don't do what the other person wants, or if we do what the other person doesn't want. When we are attached, every attachment is an obstacle to freedom. Being attached to cigarettes means I'm not free from cigarettes. Attached to people, I'm not free from their needing them. Every attachment is an infringement on our freedom. And the roles, especially the role of the child, the role of the victim, the role of the poor one, the role of the good person, the good child, the good boy, the good girl, all of these roles obstruct our freedom. Other people do not obstruct our freedom. We obstruct our freedom through our fear, our attachment, and the roles that we are engaged in. There may be situations in which we need to establish boundaries with love for our and their benefit. That is saying no with love. What do we mean by boundaries? What boundaries as to what we can give to the other, such as money or time, or do for the other. Perhaps they're asking us to do things that they could do for themselves and they're becoming lazy, and actually we're not helping them by doing what they're asking. If we can do what they're asking with love, and if they really need it, then it's good to say yes. If they really need it and they can't do it. But if they don't really need it, and if they can do it for themselves, then perhaps we're harming them. Or if they're asking us to give them something which will be harmful to them, then it's better not to. And which behaviors we can accept. Can we accept them harming us, hitting us, lying to us, cheating? I don't think we're helping them by allowing them to behave in these ways. We're not helping them as souls in evolution, that's for sure. So there are times when we may need to establish boundaries. That is to say, sorry, but no. We may need to learn to say no with love, but without fear or guilt. We're not free if we're feeling fear by saying no or feeling guilty because we say no. It has to be with love and without fear or guilt. We're clear. We know that the best thing to say here is no for that person. And we're saying with love. And we're okay with our conscience. We also may need to learn to say yes with love and without feeling resentment or suppression. So it's great to say yes. I believe in saying yes when it's helpful to the other person, when we love the other person, but there should be no resentment and no feeling of suppression. We are using our freedom to say yes. And we can use our freedom to say no. Now, using our freedom to say yes usually requires that we feel that we have the right to say no, but we're choosing yes. If we don't feel that we have the right to say no, then the yes is probably going to be identified with resentment and suppression. So we need to feel okay with saying no and then choose to say yes if we consider that's the best option here. You may know of Nikos Kazantzakis, a very famous author, Greek author, who on his tombstone has written what he wrote: I do not hope for anything. I'm not afraid of anything. I am free. And we see here that he has understood what freedom means. It means not, hope here means I'm not attached to anything. I have nothing I'm attached to happening. I'm not afraid. You see, attachment and fear are our obstacles. I am free. Now, the fifth unit about love and forgiveness. My perception is that our true inner nature is love, that we in our inner self are love. We are free to love, however, only when we are free from fear and attachment. Whenever there is fear or attachment, we have difficulty in our minds to love. As souls, we love even those who our minds and egos do not love. Okay, so as souls, which we really are, our vehicles of expression, which are the ego and the mind, do not love easily because they fear and they have many needs. And when those needs are not fulfilled, they lose their feelings of love. But as souls, we love even those who do not do what we want, but our ego cannot. Love is a choice. In fact, there is this book which I can send you as an ebook. The book is called Love is the Choice, and How to Love Ourselves and Others. If you want that ebook, send me an email and I'll send it to you as a part of your a gift because you're following this seminar. Now, when others are negative, we can ask ourselves three questions. What is he or she feeling which is causing him or her to behave in this negative way? We will understand that they are not feeling happy, that they're in pain, they're feeling guilt, they're feeling unworthy, they have resentment, they're feeling injustice. Secondly, what is our lesson here? Why is this happening in our lives, that this person is behaving in this negative way? What do we need to learn here? Greater inner self-worth, feeling safe within ourselves, establishing boundaries with love, forgiveness, understanding, seeing a part of ourselves that may behave as that person is behaving. Maybe we're behaving towards ourselves in the way that person is behaving to us. What is our lesson? And thirdly, who do we want to be in this case? Who do we want to be in response, not as a reaction, but a response to this particular behavior? Do we want to understand? Do we want to confront? Do we want to ignore? Do we want to become aggressive or assertive or understanding? Do we want to ask questions? Do we want to embrace them? Do we want to employ energy psychology and get free from what we're feeling? Who do we want to be? We cannot force someone to love us. We want to experience the energy of love. It's basically because it's what we are. So what we usually try to do is to get people to love us. And that often means changing who we are, not expressing our true selves, our needs, our beliefs. Hopefully people will love us, or doing things for other people that we don't want to do. Basically, most of us find strategies which deny who we really are in order to get someone to, we cannot force someone to love us. Okay, so there's another solution. We can love others as they are. Actually, if you focus on it, you will see that loving others is even more satisfying and fulfilling than being loved. That's what I believe. That's what I've experienced. That is, so experiencing love for them actually solves the problem, if we can do that. Secondly, we can love ourselves as we are. Another solution. So rather than trying to get others to love us, we can love them and we can love ourselves as we are. And thirdly, we can develop a love relationship with the divine, feeling that connection with God, whatever that word means for you, even if it just means an energy or a light or a consciousness without form, whatever that may be for you. We can develop a relationship with the divine or the universe, if you like, with the conglomeration of all souls, whatever is the truth for you. So we have three options here: loving the others, loving ourselves, and a love relationship with the divine, which lessens to a great degree our need for others to love us, which makes us much more pleasant and happy in our relationships. And I'd like to clarify here because most movies and songs declare that love is the cause of pain. And I would like to say that love and forgiveness are never the cause of pain. Never in the history of mankind has love or forgiveness been the reason someone felt pain. The only causes of pain are our needs, attachments, and expectations. We don't feel pain because we love someone. We feel pain because they're not reciprocating. They're not satisfying our needs. They're not saying, I love you back. Okay. So love and forgiveness are never the cause of pain, never have been. Our needs are the cause of pain. Our attachments and our expectations are the cause of pain. Now, when we forgive, we're going to do two lessons on forgiveness. One, forgiving ourselves, the other, forgiving others. But just briefly, when we forgive, we become free from negative emotions, which are affecting our health and our happiness. We cease to attract the same behavior that we can't forgive, and we cease to project that on realities where it doesn't exist, seeing what we haven't forgiven there where it doesn't exist. We become more emotionally mature, and basically we're happier people, that we are the ones that benefit from forgiving others and, of course, forgiving ourselves. Now, about the soul and our relationship with the divine, okay, we see that here we have a ray coming down from the divine, and we are the end of that ray here in the physical world. I believe, and you don't have to agree with me, that there is one consciousness appearing as all the physical universe, humans, animals, plants, insects, microbes, even the coronavirus, earth, fire, water, air, everything. Everything on the screen, at the cinema, at the movies, is one light. Even the mountains on the screen and the rivers on the screen and the people and the animals and the fires and the flooding, it's all one light appearing on the screen. And I believe that that is what's happening here. There is one consciousness appearing as all that we are experiencing here. Now, I believe that our destiny and purpose is to become ethical beings who behave towards others only as we would like others to behave towards us. In order to do that, we're going to have to get rid of fear and the illusion of separateness and the belief that we can actually create happiness by looking only after ourselves and being indifferent to how our actions may affect others around us. I also believe that we are immortal spiritual beings or consciousness in temporary bodies. Society tells us that we are these bodies and minds, and many people believe that that's just the end. I believe that we're immortal and that we simply leave these temporary bodies. Now, when I was 30 years old, a student at the university where my father was the dean of students assassinated him with a gun. And that caused me to think, I was 30 years old now, okay, what about this? Where is that consciousness that was acting as my father for 30 years? He was 55 years old, 55 years for him, 30 years for me. What happens after we leave the body? How can we be ready for that moment? And so, as you know, I'm a chemical engineer, and I first thought, well, we can't find out anything about this. And then I started to research it. I researched in many different sources. And the result was writing this book, which you can get at Amazon, or again, I can send it to you as an ebook if you ask for it. And so there I explain, I don't say much myself. A lot of quoting from many different sources about what we know about what happens to the soul when it leaves the body. It's a very interesting and documented book. Another false perception in my perception of life is that we have been brought up to believe that God's love, I'm sorry about that stated in Greek, is conditional. Society and religions tell us that God's love is conditional and that there is punishment. I cannot believe in that kind of a God. I believe that we're always loved by the divine, whatever we do, but there are, however, universal laws that determine what happened to us. God is not determining it. This divine being is not causing something to happen to us. It's not angry. It's not punishing us. I say it because I don't want to say he or she, okay? This is a universal consciousness which is set into motion various laws to which we are evolving. One of those laws is cause and effect. Another law is the law of evolution. So we as souls choose various experiences, and some of those are unpleasant. And we say, oh, God is punishing me. God doesn't love me. But this may have been of a useful perception for 2,000 or 3,000 years. But I think we need to grow up and understand that God is love, nothing else. He doesn't have the option of not loving. Doesn't even have free will as we have to not love or love. So I believe that this is there's a universal love, an immutable love and protection from the divine towards us. That does not prevent us from experiencing the results of our choices. Every choice we make comes back to us, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity to learn from that choice and perhaps make other wiser, more evolved choices. So for my perception is there is no punishment or bad luck. There are only opportunities for growth. What is happening is not a punishment. What is happening is not bad luck. It's just an opportunity for growth. So in order to create a new reality, we will need new beliefs, choices, and actions. Now that brings us to the third segment, which probably I'm going to leave for next time. Let's just speak briefly. These are called inspired questions and answers, which we use in our courses. And they're based on an idea from Noah St. John called affirmations. I call them inspired questions and inspired answers, where we select an emotion that we would like to be free from, and then we focus on the stimuli that trigger that emotion, such as say the emotion is rejection, and the trigger may be someone rejecting us or criticizing us or ignoring us. That's the trigger, the other person's behavior. Or the trigger could be I make a mistake, something that I do, or that I lose money or someone steals from me. And that's the trigger, which is which is triggering, not creating, triggering the emotion within me. And then I choose one of those triggers, one of those stimuli, we've been calling them until now, and accept that your mind creates this emotion in this situation. So I accept that my mind creates self-rejection when the other person is doing something better than me, when the other person is criticizing me, when the other person is not agreeing with me, when the other person is right, okay? When my child is not doing well, okay? So we choose a specific trigger and accept that our mind or stimulus, our mind is creating this emotion in this situation. For example, when my mother criticizes me, my partner does not agree with me, when my child is not doing well in school or life, when I don't have enough money, when I make a mistake, when others are better than me, when I or my loved one is ill. And then what do? We ask ourselves the opposite question. We ask ourselves, we think of the opposite emotion, the positive emotion that we want to feel. And then we ask ourselves why we are able to feel that emotion, why we feel that emotion, why it is okay to feel that emotion. And that I'm going to use the word okay here. Why do I feel okay even when, we can go back here, my mother criticizes, my partner does not agree with me, my child is not doing well, I don't have enough money, I make a mistake when others are better, or when I or my loved. Why is it okay? Why do I feel okay? Now, okay could mean safe. You can choose a specific emotion: worthy, peaceful, loving, strong, hopeful, accepting, understand. You can choose any positive emotion which you decide is the opposite of what you're feeling and is what you want to feel. Okay, so I'm going to explain more about this next time, but we're going to do that exercises now as a short exercise. Okay, so that may be confusing for you in the beginning, but we're going to do a whole class about that in the future, and you'll get the idea. So we're going to do that exercise now. Okay, you can sit with your spine straight and close your eyes and relax. Let's breathe slowly and deeply. With each breath, feel your spine straightening and your mind relaxing. Allow the abdomen to relax. And the solar plexus to relax. Allow the shoulders to relax. And the face, allow the jaw to relax. And the cheekbones, allow them to relax. Allow the eyes to relax and the temples. Allow the forehead to relax. And allow the top of the head to relax. Now feel your body, and if there are any parts of your body that are tense, allow them to relax now. Even deeper, let go even further, relaxing, feeling the mind relaxing. Now you can bring to your mind a situation in your life or an event, situation or behavior which is limiting your sense of peace or happiness or love, which is bothering you. Choose a specific event or behavior or situation and focus on that. And feel the feelings that you have when you think of this stimulus or trigger. What are the emotions that you feel? Now let us accept these emotions, and let's accept that our mind feels this way, and let us accept our mind feeling this way. Now let's experience the agreement with the subconscious, the inner child, the pain body, the higher self, and the divine, to let go and be free for any obstacles to feeling peace, happiness, and love in this situation and all situations. That means letting go of fears, of attachments, beliefs which are obstructing us. And let's do the sadhana method. Let's accept these emotions and perceive them as energies created by the mind. Allow them to expand and to flow out of the body and to dissipate. And to expand and to flow out of the mind and to dissipate. Now let us realize the beliefs or the needs that were creating those emotions. Try to distinguish whether the needs were needs for self-worth, or for safety, perhaps freedom, or pleasure, or meaning. Which are the needs that the mind feels are in danger here? Now let us accept the light which flows into the mind and frees us from these doubts. Allows us to feel our inner self-worth, inner security, fulfillment, completeness. Now, think of what the opposite of that emotion that you chose in the beginning. What is the opposite, positive opposite? The positive emotion that you would like to feel. Choose a positive emotion that you would like to feel. Now we're going to do the brain balancing posture by placing the right ankle over the left and the right wrist over the left with the hands united and the arms straight or bent. Now focus on that positive emotion. And as you focus on that positive emotion, accept in your mind beliefs, alternative perceptions that enable you to feel that emotion. What practical or spiritual truths support you in feeling that positive emotion? Allow various truths and alternative perceptions, practical and spiritual, to come into your mind to support that positive emotion. Continue to receive, even if it's the same beliefs over and over again, it's okay. Receiving alternative perceptions which enable you to feel the positive emotion, in this case, and perhaps all cases. Now you can change the position of your feet and hands with the left on top. And now the question is, why is it okay to feel this positive emotion? Or why is it safe? What are the answers to that question? Why is it okay to feel that positive emotion? And now, why is it safe to feel that positive emotion? Thirdly, why is it in my benefit to feel that positive emotion? Why is it in my benefit? And the fourth question, how can feeling this positive emotion benefit others? Now you can bring your palms to the chest, feeling the energy flowing into the heart center. And focus on the trigger again, on the stimulus. And focus on the positive emotion. Allow yourself to feel that positive emotion that you chose. And allow any resistance or doubt to disappear. And focus on feeling that positive emotion. And imagine yourself in general in life, in various activities, feeling that positive emotion. Imagine your daily life, and you're going through your daily activities, feeling that positive emotion. Now just feel that positive emotion expanding within you, feeling the heart center and the brain. Allow it to heal your body. Positive emotions are healing. Allow it to heal. Now I'm going to count from 1 to 5 to complete the exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, hope you're able to focus. We spoke about 3 things today: our resistance towards happiness, our fear of happiness. Secondly, some alternative perceptions, which I hope that you will think about. This is what I believe, but I want you to feel free to agree and disagree. And thirdly, the possibility of inspired questions where I ask myself, where I'm not feeling peace, why am I feeling peace? Or why could I feel peace? Or why is it okay to feel peace? Why is it in my benefit to feel peace? What is in the benefit of others to feel peace? Or any other positive emotion? Consider this. bringing to mind what is the opposite of what am I feeling, and asking yourselves, why am I feeling that positive emotion, or why could I be? What truths or practical truths or spiritual truths support my feeling this positive emotion? And try the brain balancing exercise as we did to strengthen it. So I would suggest you try this at least 3 times before moving on to the next lesson. Be well and be happy.